Rob, there was a report today that the New Orleans Pelicans are trying to get the number 2 pick in the draft. Okay. And that, of course, would be the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe if they want to move into the top 3, but it looks like they really want the top 2, the second pick. And that looks like it'll be Scoot Henderson, who's a point guard. He's supposed to be, the top point guard in the class. Very highly touted. Would be viewed as the number 1 pick if it weren't for Victor Wembanyama, who's going to go number 1 to the Spurs. So here's, of course, the Charlotte Hornets, Rob. Their star player is LaMelo Ball. I mean, maybe not a star yet, but certainly has star potential. I'm going to say this. If I am now, Brandon Ingram is a very good player. I don't want to overstate it, but he's a very good player. He himself, I believe, was the second pick of the draft. So, if I'm Charlotte, am I interested in Brandon Ingram for the second pick of the draft? He's only 25. He'll be 26 in September. That's not bad. You pair him with LaMelo Ball. But, Rob, I got to be honest, with all of his issues, and most importantly, his injury issues, if I'm Charlotte, I think I want Zion. And I don't know, I'm not saying New Orleans would even do that. But I think he's the guy I want. Ingram's really good. He's made an all-star team. But Zion is the game and franchise changer. And Zion with LaMelo, if Zion's healthy, you're must-see TV. And look, I get it. That's the problem. He's never healthy, which is why if I'm Charlotte, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they'll trade him. It's a risk on Charlotte's part, Rob. And so what I'm asking you is, either side, would you do Zion? If you're New Orleans or if you're Charlotte, would you want
No.
So you sound like you're speaking from the New Orleans perspective.
No, both. First,
wow.
It's 2 things, Chris. No, from New Orleans standpoint, because when he's played, he's been outstanding and been unstoppable. So you just hope that he can work past these injuries and things that have gone on and just get to playing basketball. The talent is so big that it would be a shame that you give him away and then he becomes this guy that he wound up becoming.
Okay.
And on the flip side, if you're Charlotte, if this guy, what is the guy's name? Who's going to be the pick
Henderson.
number 2? Scoot. If Scoot would have been the number 1 pick had it not been like why would you? Okay, so
they got
Zion.
LaMelo. I mean, and I know obviously they would want to play both of them together, but LaMelo is your point guard.
Yeah, but if you go, I get it. But if you get Zion and then he winds up being hurt or something, I just think be careful, on both sides.
It's a risk.
Right, there's a risk that's for Charlotte.
When I hear
but also
you
for New Orleans, that's all. I just let me play it out. Zion is too good if I'm New Orleans to be giving up on him.
Well, I hear you on that front, but that's why I'm surprised you can say if I'm New Orleans, I'm not trading him, but if I'm Charlotte, I don't want him. You know what I'm saying? I would think you'd be like, I'm not trading him, and yeah, if I'm Charlotte, I'm trying to get him.
Well, I'm saying that because if Scoot was going to be the number 1 pick, if it wasn't for,
Well, Scoot is he's a 6'2" point guard.
No, I get
I mean,
that.
I'm not saying the kid might not be special, but a lot of, you know what I'm saying? We see those. There's a lot of those.
No, I got it. But I'm just saying, I know I wouldn't, from New Orleans standpoint, I would not trade Zion. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. And here's why: if I'm the Pelican, if I'm the Hornets, I might just be like, look, if you're not talking Zion, then why you calling me? Because check this out. We know about Zion's injuries, which obviously are way worse than Brandon Ingram's. But Ingram hadn't exactly been the picture of health. All right, his second year, Rob.
He's been out.
First year he played 79 games. But from then on, 59 games, 52 games, 62, 61, 55, and 45 last year. So, I mean, like I said, he's not the picture of health either. So I think the more I think about it, and I get your perspective because I would be terrified if I'm New Orleans to trade Zion. Right? Because as you said, what if he goes somewhere else and stays healthy? Look, Joel Embiid, unhealthy for the first 3 years, I believe, of his career.
Yeah.
And now, he's
the guy just won an MVP.
Yep. We've seen it, Zydrunas Ilgauskas. So we've seen this before, injured early in their career, but get to a point where they can play regularly. And so if I'm Charlotte, Rob, I'm telling New Orleans, look, I'm taking a risk too. Your boy can't stay healthy. But he would be my target if I'm them. What do they have to lose? I mean, is Scoot Henderson really going to make them all that? Now, maybe the kid turns out to be a phenomenal point guard. And that's where your scouting department comes in. If you're looking at this guy, you think he's awesome, and you think he can play with LaMelo, Rob, even if you are thinking, well, it might be one or the other, they're just at a position where they need talent, right? They're not very good. They just need to get the most talent they can get, and then one of them maybe becomes a trade asset if LaMelo or Scoot. So I hear you, but I think if I'm them, I'm going for Zion. And if I can't get him, I'm just going to take the second pick.
No, I get that. I mean, if you think you could prize Zion away, Chris, I hear that. But I'm just saying, if I'm New Orleans,
if you're Charlotte?
Nope.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean he's not a good player.
Right.
He doesn't move it. He doesn't move the needle like getting a Zion would do for your franchise.
Right.
He just doesn't.
I mean, Zion number one would be box office, assuming he's healthy. He puts you on the national map again, along with LaMelo, Rob. So you got both of them. And they're both exciting players. And what I do, Rob, is and look, maybe New Orleans has tried, but I would put dude on a weight regimen or something like that. You got Michael Jordan there. He hasn't sold the team yet. And so I would think Zion would be willing to listen to him, and I would think Mike would do that. But he's also, Rob, remember, Zion is a Jordan brand athlete.
He is. He's a part of that.
Yep.
There's a good point there, but I don't know. Of course, if you're Charlotte and you could get him, Chris, that would be a great because it's one over production over potential.
Right.
Like you just said, like it still would be, when Zion's been healthy, Chris, he's been a monster.
Absolutely.
Right? Almost unstoppable. Go look at his numbers.
Yep. No, he's
not
been
that
phenomenal.
He can't play, it's that he can't stay healthy. And if he gets over that hurdle, one of these years, maybe this year, and you gave the perfect example of Joel Embiid for 3 years, Chris, 3 years. And then the guy wins an MVP.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you on New Orleans, though. I would be shocked. And there are a lot of those beginning to think, does Zion need a fresh start because of the latest stuff with the baby and baby mama drama and all that. But my point is, Rob, that's the type of stuff that can happen anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, he could be in Milwaukee and that type of stuff happen.
Absolutely, Chris.
I think of Ja.
Right.
And I know, Ja could play with guns wherever he's at too. But I don't know. I feel like Memphis, I don't know. I feel like he kind of needs to get away from that culture. I don't know that they'll trade him, but I'm just saying. But I don't feel like necessarily the same way about Zion having to get out of New Orleans. I mean, I think his biggest challenge there is probably the food. Real talk,
And there's a lot of good food down there, as you know.
Right. He eating gumbo and jambalaya, beignets for breakfast, It's 4 shrimp po' boys for lunch.
All right, Chris.
Gumbo for dinner.
Salivate?
And jambalaya for a midnight capper. That's why I can't lose weight and stay on the court.